Welcome to Whips in the Dungeon. I'm Dex, and today we're going to talk a little bit about whip flurries or round robins. You don't see those done much anymore. They were done a lot at convention events and larger events in the early part of the last decade, around 2000 to 2005 or 6. So we would see quite a few whip flurries. Don't see that many anymore, but I want to talk about the whip flurry and safety regarding a whip flurry. So what is a whip flurry? A whip flurry is when you have one or multiple whip bottoms. I'd say optimally 1, 2, 3. When you go above 3, it gets to be a little bit too big. Takes quite a bit of room because you have multiple whip throwers. So if you can imagine your whip bottom in the center of the room, and around it there are anywhere from 2, 3, 4. I don't recommend going above 4 because if you just think of that circle like a large pie and you divide it into quarters, then each whip thrower has a quarter to throw in. If there's 4, if there's 3, you have a third of the pie, and if there's 2, then you're just generally on opposing sides. The whip bottom is getting a 360-degree experience of the whip. And so when we talk about safety with whip circles, you want to have a large enough area to do one in. You don't want your observers to be too close behind you. And then you have to think of different throwing styles complementing or not complementing each other. If everyone in the whip circle is throwing the horizontal style or East Coast swing, then that's pretty much compatible as they go around. If everyone is throwing a forward figure 8, then again, the styles complement each other, it's not a problem. Where I've run into issues is when we had 4 or more whip throwers and then we were throwing a mix of styles. You had some people doing horizontal, so the one whip's going this way while the whip adjacent to it is going into a forward figure 8. Okay, and what can happen when you have a mix of styles is the whips can become tangled, they can become deflected, and so one of the real important things in a whip flurry is that for the whip bottom, the whip catcher that's receiving, is to have eye protection. However that eye protection, whatever form that takes, whether it's safety glasses or whether it's just a blindfold, a leather blindfold, something that's going to protect the eyes. Very, very important, because Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. You can have the best whip throwers in the world, and if their styles clash and a whip becomes deflected or tangled, it could end up being caught in the eye by somebody on the receiving end. So I recommend eye protection for all whip flurries. To me, the optimal is 2 people on opposite sides of the whip catcher. 3 people's nice. When you get to 4, you really have to be conscious of the style that's being thrown and where the placement of the whip thrower is with those styles so they don't clash with each other, and safety for the whip catcher. And I don't recommend going above 4 in a whip circle. 5 is just too many. The whip throwers are going to get in each other's way. Could you do 5? Sure, you just have to be creative. You throw 3 people in and have 2 people stand out, and when the whip throwers all make a circle, one person steps out, somebody else steps in, so that at any one point in time consecutively, no more than 3 or 4 people are throwing at a given time. So that's kind of it for whip flurries. I just wanted to mention safety because often we don't think about it, especially when we're working with very experienced whip throwers and whip bottoms. But safety glasses or a blindfold for the whip catcher. As always, thanks for watching Whips in the Dungeon.